I'm Orin Isaacs. I'm a musician, composer, producer, musical director here based out of Toronto. And welcome to the Music Summertime.
Thank you so much, Orin. Really appreciate you joining me today.
Hey,
Um,
it's what I do.
it's when Shirley said I should speak with you. I'm saying I think I know that name. I'm not sure. I checked you. I go, oh, I know this guy. Bass guitar, big smile on television. I've seen you around. Um, but let's talk about the Olympics. You're doing some stuff with the CBC production of the Olympics. I understand you've done a bunch of stuff for them in the past, whether it's the Olympics or Hockey Night in Canada and a bunch of other things. Um, Here's what I want to know. As a musician, as a composer, how do you approach the Olympics? Because I understand you've been asked to refresh the music. Is that correct? How do you
The theme,
approach
your
it?
Olympic theme.
The Olympic theme, yeah. So how do you approach it from the perspective of you as a musician wanting to be creative, but also keeping in mind that there's maybe a theme or a sound that CBC wants or that the viewers are used to? How do you sort of balance all of that, Orin?
Well, the good thing about, Shirley and the team over there is they're very collaborative, right? And
Hmm.
it's easier when the direction comes from them. They want it updated. So what I would do in the past is I would always want to update things and put my own spin on it and all that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then that sometimes can work for you. It sometimes can work against you, which I've
Okay.
found out, back in the Pan Am game days, right? So, you
Whoa,
know,
wait. Okay, we'll come back to that. I want to find
oh,
out about that stuff.
okay, yeah. So, but what with Shirley, he's pretty forward thinking. So he's the one that always pushes me to, take it further than I would actually feel comfortable taking it. Tell you the truth.
Okay. So like what is he asking you? Is he
Okay.
asking you, does he tell you, Oren, we hired you, so I want something from you? Like
Yes,
what is that?
he's very much, look, dude, we can get any sound we want from just a music library, right?
Okay.
So we want something that that is uniquely you while
Okay.
staying true to what's uniquely us as in terms of the CBC's Olympic theme. They have a melody, right? They have a ba
Yeah.
ba ba da ba be da kind of thing, right? So he lets me go off and just do whatever I want, and he can either say pull it back, and he very rarely says that. He says always push it further.
Yeah.
So there are some very traditional sounds happening at the CBC, and then I can come in there and just kind of mess with it a little bit and take it current. And so this particular theme that they have, it's been usually traditional in nature, and
Okay.
this year we really pushed it. Of course we did some orchestral traditional stuff, but we also took it to trap. We took it,
Whoa.
yeah, we went trap on it. We took it to the islands. We took it all over the place. The cool thing about what they're doing now with the Olympics is, even though it's based in Paris, we're not focusing on a Paris sound. We're focusing on a sound
Okay.
that your viewer or the viewer would relate to, as opposed to pushing the Paris sound. Because
So
the Parisian
Canadian.
sound, well,
Canadian
yeah,
audience.
Canadian, and right now we run everything in terms of genres of music.
Yeah.
So the whole approach is to let's come with some different genres of music as Canadians we would appreciate when we're watching it. And we will leave the Parisian sounds to, storytelling and that kind of thing. Because the Parisian sounds like cafe or accordion, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, which is good for the vibe, but it's not the most, get you hyped like you want to compete, you know what I mean? Like you want to win medals, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we're
Yeah.
taking it everywhere and everywhere with the new theme.
So, Orin, would you create themes for, okay, these are people that are watching during the day. Here's our evening show where maybe there might be a little bit
Exactly.
more. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So, and we cater it to the hosts, right? So,
Ah,
right? So if the host is like, if it's a Mark and Gem, well, that's going to have a little bit of, you know, flavor to it.
okay.
So we're going to come with that vibe. Another host might be, more of a rock vibe. Okay. So we're coming with that vibe. We're catering it to the
I
to
like
the
that. I
actual
like that.
shows, the host, the personalities. So the music has to have the personality that matches the personalities, right? So yeah, they give me a quick rundown. The host of this show would be like, this person, and that's their vibe, and then this person, that's fine, and then we keep the same keep the same melody throughout. Ba 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 da ba
Interesting.
ba, but it could be hip hop, it could be trap, it could be rock, it could be anything.
All right.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. And then of course, like I said, we have the traditional orchestral vibe of it. But it's kind of cool. It's just like anything goes. Like, Shirley said he wanted to have a segment today, give me some funk on it.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I got no problem. But I'm like, okay, well, here's what I think I should do that's not pushing it too far.
Yeah, yeah.
And Shirley was like, no.
No, some more funk, more bass.
When I
Turn the
say funk,
bass
I'm
up.
talking zap. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, we're going there. And as soon as I actually lean into what it's supposed to be, as opposed to, I've done this for a while now, and
Yeah.
sometimes when people say things, right, they don't mean it. But the good thing about, this crew here, when they say it, they mean it. So my first attempt at it was too light. It wasn't, it was funk light. It was funk ish. No, he wanted, let's go there and get that, at least the bottom end of it, feeling that way. Then we can sprinkle whatever we want on top. As soon as I gave him some zap, it was approved.
Nice, nice. I've got so many questions I want to ask. I want to ask you about what happened with the Pan Am, but as you're talking about different vibes for different hosts, and that you've done some stuff with Hockey Night, I'm reminded that a number of years ago, I don't know, was it 5, 6, 7 years ago? Uh, CBC Hockey Night in Canada said, "Let's try George Stroumboulopoulos as your, I don't know what his title is, lead host or something."
Yeah, co-host or something. Yeah.
Were you involved with music for that at all?
No,
No.
that wasn't
Okay.
my era. So what happened
Okay.
was I was probably in there from about 98
Okay.
to 2008 ish,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
hardcore, like every week, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then they
wow.
had the theme change up. And with that theme change up came kind of like a new, it works in, regimes, right? So a new regime
Sure.
took over. And then when that regime left, I left with it. It's kind of how it works, right?
Okay. They want their
So
own people in there. Yeah.
yeah, like every new regime is going to bring their own crew, their own, put their own thumbprint on it, bring their own people. So
Yeah.
I was kind of out on that regime, and I think I was think, don't quote me on that. I think I had my run from about 98 to about 2008, 2010, and then a new regime took over, and
Yeah.
then funny enough, for the Raptors run of 2019,
Oh,
my regime came back,
just in
and
time.
just in time, and then we did a bunch of promos for the Raptors. We won,
Yeah.
and then I told them because I'm back, right? So we're winning now because I'm back. So, so, and then this new regime is like, or the crew here that I'm working with, the Australian, that crew is now moved over to the Olympics, and so he recommended me to come over and start
Nice.
working on the Olympics.
Nice. All right, Orin, what happened with the Pan Am Games? You went too far? You didn't go
Oh
far
yeah,
enough?
okay. So Pan Am Games, they had the
Eh,
creative, and the creative was we're gonna do like all these cultural segments for this one big melody medley I had to do. No problem. 12 minutes long, whatever. Okay, but me and the creative director said we're gonna change the game, right? So
oh,
we are gonna change the game. We're gonna give them something they've never heard before. Now, when I first delivered it, That didn't go over too well. They actually looked at me and said, "This is not what we were expecting, right? This is not what we pitched. This was not the creative." So, good thing I was able to keep the meeting light and go, "Okay, I'm going to stick closer to, to traditional sounds of the cultures, right?" So we even if you wanted to go say Irish folk dance, river dance, kind of whatever they call that
Yeah.
stuff, I would be doing that over like trap, jungle beats, whatever, right? And they were just like, no, that's not it. So the good thing is I'm pretty versed in all of the cultures, and I was able to go culturally, and within 2 days give them another version, and they were very happy. And that same crew from 2015, I still work with to this day. So
Oh, that's good.
I didn't burn too many bridges. I burned it for about 2 days, and then I was able to build a better bridge,
You build
and
it.
still here.
Oh
So
my
it happens. It
goodness.
happens.
Nice, nice. Have you done anything where you said, I'm gonna cross the line? Let me see if they rein me back, and if they don't, I'm gonna run with this, and you're like
Yeah, that
shocked?
was the time. That was the time. I'm
Yeah?
going to change the game, and they rein me back in. I don't is a light understatement.
Is that,
It was
has
like
there been ever where they didn't rein you back and you were shocked? Has that ever happened with you?
I would have to say
Where there's
yes,
enough collect? Okay. Oh
yes,
wow.
yes. Like sometimes that's what they kind of expect from me. You know what I mean? Is to
Okay.
let's see what you're going to bring to it, because like I said, right now, people in my position, we're competing against music libraries, right? So those music libraries
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
going to give you whatever the uh, generic kind of sound is. It's safe.
Hmm.
Everybody can latch onto and go, yes, it's safe. But if you really want to do something different with your productions, you want to take chances, you want to take risks, you want to actually, have people lean in and go, whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
So it's yeah, some shows, and especially like I said, some a producer like Shirelli at CBC there, he expects that from me. But if we don't work together like every year, let's say,
Yeah.
and I go through a spell where I'm getting reined in, then my mind is keep it, keep it pedestrian. You know what I mean? Or
Hmm.
don't, because
Yeah.
especially if people haven't, people would get not would get, but people I'd be referred to people,
Yeah.
right? And if we haven't worked and we haven't vibed, you don't catch my vibe. You just know me as I'm delivering. So I gotta watch it when I'm with new clients
I
or
hear
people
you.
that we haven't worked together before. But people who know what I can do, those are the ones that say, "Yo, do you? We gotta make it sound like a great story." With Shirelli, personally, is we were doing something for hockey night a few years back,
Yeah.
and back in the early days, like when I was bass playing on TV every night, and I was that guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was just like everything was bass, 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 bass. And actually, people who would watch hockey knew it was me because of these aggressive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I was on TV at the time, so it was almost expected, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward to a couple of years ago, so I'm out of the game for 20 years, right? And Shirley says, "Yo, bring back one, just one with a bass." I go, and I'm fighting him. I'm going, "Nah, Shirley, like, nah, man, that was back then. I'm so rusty now. Nah." He goes, "Please, let's just do one where you're back on base." And I said, "Okay, I'm just gonna give you one because that's all I got in me. I'm retired now." Sure enough, I did one, and this is when I was on social media, and the hockey game was on a Saturday night. Sure enough, by the next day, weren't people saying, "Hey, Orin, did you do something on hockey night? Because we're hearing that bass." And then he was right, right? So sometimes you have your signature stuff,
Yeah.
and it felt good, right? To know that people
Nice.
like hear it and
People
go,
remember.
I wonder if that's Orin, and then be able to message me
Yeah.
social media. Hey, was that you last night on the hockey game? And so, yeah,
Nice.
it's good to have a fingerprint and have a sound at least that people can recognize every now and then. So that's cool.
Orin, how did you end up being um like a musical director, someone that can create themes? how did it start? How did music start for you? Where did you begin? Was it in school? You picked up a
I was
bass
just a
guitar or
kid,
trumpet? Yeah.
no kid in the hood, and to stay out of trouble, we started a band,
Okay.
and all the instruments were taken. The last instrument left was bass, and I figured, okay, I'll play that. And that was like at about 12 years old, and I, haven't put it down since. And so I
Wow.
was playing in bands. Then as
Yeah.
I was getting older, I said, okay, I want to be a producer, a music producer.
Okay.
So I started to put my energy into that. But back then, or most people, it's for music, right? So music, like records, the record business.
Yeah.
And so how I got into television was we're producing a record back in the day, an artist named Devin Martin. He goes by Mr. Metro, and we were doing his first record, and we were shooting a video, and our video crews were right beside a television show. So when the stages are the two stages or the two
Yeah.
lots are right beside each other, and the show was called Catwalk, and the producers on their side were getting very upset because all our crews were getting mixed up. The signs were they came huffing and puffing. There was a woman named Wendy Green. I'll never forget her. She said, you're messing up our shoot. We got $100,000 an hour shoot. You're messing up. Get your signs straight. And they heard the music. Go, hey, who did that music? Everybody pointed at me. She came over. You did that? I said, yeah. Can you do that for us? I said, yeah. Meet me in my office Monday, 10 a.m. Don't be late. Sure enough, I showed up to her office Monday a.m., 10 a.m., and I've been in television ever since.
Wow. That's fascinating. That's really, really interesting. Um, I've been a late night fan since Letterman had a gap between his teeth and he was overweight and wore, I think, white Adidas with his jacket and stuff. So Paul Schaefer, someone I'm familiar with when I saw you, I think it was on the Mike Bullard show was I think the
Yep.
first time I seen you on TV. I thought I was like, okay, great, a Canadian late night show. We need something. I thought that was good. Um, but then I found out that you done some stuff with Paul Schaefer. What have
Yeah.
you got? What have you guys done
Yeah.
together? And
It's
what did you
wild.
learn from him?
Well, here's the thing. When you're dealing with people, and like you say, I grew up watching Letterman from, the start as well as a kid. And because
Yeah.
the band was awesome with the Willies and, you know what I mean? The original band was just
Yes, right.
crazy.
The most dangerous, but what do they call it? The most
The most
dangerous
dangerous
band in
band
the
in the
world or
world.
something? That's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
And they were incredible. So when you actually live out a dream
Hmm.
and you're doing the exact same thing, and remember, you're a kid. You sometimes, and you're a Canadian kid. You don't think these things are possible. It's American, and you end up doing it. And then it gets even crazier is when you actually start working with the people that you were like admiring
Ah.
on TV. It's crazy. So what you try and do is you try not to admire them, right?
Okay.
You try to me, you try to
Yeah.
be a peer, right? You try to be a colleague,
Yeah.
right? So it got to the point when Paul would have to do things up here, he would want like a boots on the ground kind of guy. And so what better than to have a guy that does exactly what he does up in Canada, and and we're both Canadian, and I'm doing it up here and competent enough to do anything he asks. So yeah, we've worked together a couple of times, a few times actually. You know,
Wow. What did you learn? Like, did you have a chance to work with him prior to your work with Mike Bullard show? And did you
no,
learn? No.
no,
Okay. So it was
everything starts
afterwards.
to kind of my the personality vibe of showbiz,
Yeah.
right, is what it happened with Bullard. Remember, I've been doing television since '92. Bullard wasn't until '97,
Oh, well, okay. 5 years.
right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was always behind the scenes. So Bullard put me in front of the camera as a personality kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So people saw that side of me, and That's when the phone really started to ring off the hook because okay, now we can have a musician that's competent in what we need to do, but we also have a personality where people can recognize,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and attach it to. And since I'm freelance, attach it to their shows and stuff like that. So
Nice.
that's kind of how it worked. And so when it came time to doing stuff with Paul, you know, like you can check me out. You know what I mean? He was unconfident. You can see I can play. Let's, you know what I mean? Like let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a good little relationship. You know, we haven't
Nice.
done it in a while because I'm kind of moved solely into the back, and of course he went off the air, and that's
Yeah.
what happens, right? When you go off the air, things change. You know, what I mean, so things just change.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You guys are in different stages of your lives and your
Yes.
careers, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing though. You talked earlier about getting started in music, staying out of trouble. Um, and you've also done community work. I'm going to assume, I don't know exactly what, but I'm going to assume it's around music.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the only thing I really know.
tell me for sure, yeah. Well, listen, the question I want to ask you is I want to find out more about the stuff that you've done, but my son's off to university in September, and he literally grew up in a music community, so to speak. He started in a community choir, like every week, maybe twice a week. And then when he started in Scarborough, when he started in school, I think grade 7, grade 8, you get an instrument. And then right from high school, was in the jazz band, was in the orchestra, was in the choir, always been around music. What's your thoughts on music and education? And tell me a little bit about some of the work that you've done.
Well, it's really about specialized knowledge, right? In order
Hmm.
to succeed in anything, it takes specialized knowledge. I think anything that requires you killing somebody, like a doctor, maybe that takes a degree. But everything else is
Right
specialized
on.
knowledge. And you can only get
Yeah.
specialized knowledge from three spots, right? Your personal experience, the experience of others, or an institution. Remember, I've done all this, and only once in my life have anybody ever asked me what my credentials are. Once in 30 years.
Wow.
Once, right?
Yeah.
So, as long as it's the great thing about music, it's an art. So, as long as you're good at art, you're
Yeah.
good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, education is great. You know what I mean? The community he's going to build there probably be more important than the education he gets, right? Because things are changing so quick right
Yeah.
now that, maybe what he's learning right now will be outdated in 2 years. You don't know, you know?
True. And the reason I told you about that was not that he's like, who knows? He's going to Western. Who knows if he's going to do music? But I believe it's helped him because I was crap in math. My wife was crap in math. I've heard tangentially that there's a relationship with music and being able
I
to
have a I
read
have a crazy
music and
story
math.
about I have a
Yeah.
crazy story about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go overtime because of this, right? Check this out.
Sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, music on a staff and a time signature is just a fraction, okay? 4/4 is a
Mm,
fraction. 4 quarter notes to the bar, right?
yeah.
So, I when I was in high school, grade 10, I can clap any rhythm you put in front of me. Any rhythm you put in front of me, I can clap. But I couldn't do fractions in math. So, my
Interesting.
math teacher and my music teacher got together one day and held me after school and said, "Okay, clap this rhythm, right? No problem. Anything I can see, I can read, no problem. But you don't understand that this is a fraction because you suck at fractions in math." I said, "I don't get it," right? So, anyways, my midterm music uh, test was up. Okay, I slept in. The office calls me and goes, "Orin, do you not understand that you're supposed to be in your music midterm right now?" I said, "Oh snap!" Got on the bus, got to school. It's an hour and a half test. I think I had like 20 minutes left. That's how late I was. I whipped through it, and I understand my cockiness, right? So I whipped through it. I finish it just in time. I hand it to my music teacher, and I go, "Okay, I'm done. You can use this to mark everybody else's."
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah,
Right? I think I got like 105% on that one because it was the test
And the bonus
plus the
mark.
bonus, right? Right.
Yeah.
That's how cocky I was. You can use this to mark everybody else's. Anyways, we had a great relationship. We have a love-hate relationship, but it was ultimately a great relationship with me and my high school music teacher. So, fast forward to the final test of the year. Now I'm there on time, right? I'm having a good old time. I'm getting there. I don't even start, right? When everybody starts, I'm kicking up my feet on the desk. I'm yawning. I'm looking at it and going, stretching, all kinds of foolishness, right? Anyways, I do the test. And the very last question was, this is a fraction. If it were to be a musical phrase, what would it be? And I look up, and he looks at me with a big smile, as to say, got ya.
Wow.
And that's how he caught me. He got me on a fraction. If
Wow.
this was a musical phrase, what would it be? And I couldn't answer it.
And did you ever make that connection?
Now, as a grown-up, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what my son has done. He's taken that, innate skill and knowledge and has translated that into math. And I directly correlate his time in music and the discipline and the reading and the understanding to his success overall in school.
There's definitely a correlation to it. I put it this way: my math and life does it, right? Like my math skills really sucked in high school.
Yeah,
but they're pretty good now. When you have to start invoicing and start doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to.
When there's money involved, all of a sudden my math skills got really good. You know what I mean?
You have to. That's for sure. I hear you. Orin, let me ask you this. You're doing a bunch of different things, and especially with the Olympic theme, you're mixing different genres together. Outside of work, when you're kicking back, maybe you're driving to Costco or maybe you're going on a road trip. What plays in your car? What plays when you're just
only
relaxing?
The radio. Only the radio.
Interesting. What state are you listening to? Talk radio? What kind of music?
If I'm in town, I'm listening to Flow.
Okay.
And then I'll jump around between flows first, and then I'll jump around to whatever's playing the current hits of the day. That's what I want to know. I'm 55 years old. I got to keep my ear to the ground. So I'm not going to get in my own little silo because then I won't stay current. Right? Yeah. So I'm listening to the hits of the day. Yeah. So I know, remember, television, especially television, is going to follow the trends of whatever's out there. Right? They want to stay current too. So
and you have interesting.
So I got to stay current. So I got to listen to hit radio. And I have a lean for, black current radio. So I'll go to Flow first.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump around to all the hits. I'll only listen to the radio.
Interesting. And for that reason, almost like it's related to work almost.
It is work related. Everything I do points to my passion, my purpose.
Interesting. Okay. Orin, this has been a really fun chat, a really fun conversation.
It flew by.
Yeah, it has. Listen, before I let you go, you got some stuff hanging up on walls. Those look like CDs, and I don't know if they're awards or gold records or something.
Back there, yeah. So
talk to me. What are those things?
So those three there are the cast records. I call them cast records for Canadian Idol. So
that's right. You worked with them as well.
Right. So I was the musical director of Canadian Idol. So I also ended up producing those cast records there.
Yeah.
The records here are the singles. So I did the B side of the singles because whoever won put out a single, and then their B side would be the song that I would have done on the cast records. So I got those plaques for that. And then of course back
there's some trophies
like
there.
A CSA for the Junos, and then that's a Harry Jerome Award for professional my professional award.
Yeah.
And then those are some original Junos.
Not the copies.
our original Junos, and the ones at the end is a real black award when they has to have uh, awards for black achievement, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the one in the middle is there is an Eva, which was like an industry award. And then
Okay. What are the
I have a couple of things off the sides there, but
what were the Junos for?
oh, the Junos for were rap recording and R&B recording. So Devin, the same
Okay.
one that started my career, and
Yeah.
a few years later, I did an R&B one with Rupert Gale, and that one won.
Okay. That's
And I can't
amazing.
remember what the other one was for.
So many, eh? You could just
Maybe,
forget.
it could have been one of them. Could be for bass riding my Funkmobile. Don't quote me on that. I don't know.
Wait, you wrote on that single?
No, I help record it.
Ah. Ah, yeah. Chin's a bass guitarist. Your
Right.
bass. He also does
So
production as well.
yeah. So funny story. Chin used to take lessons from me back in the day.
No way.
Yeah. And this is
Okay.
when I was just starting out, and he'd come and he'd take lessons, and he was a good student. Yeah, he was a good student. We used to tell him, and then as we our relationship stayed together, and then he formed Bass's Bass,
Yeah.
and then I had just built a studio, and they recorded Funkmobile, so I recorded Funkmobile.
Nice. Yeah, that I think that won an award, didn't it?
Yeah, so I'm thinking one of those is for Funkmobile. Don't quote me on
Oh,
it, but I'm pretty sure. I
no,
should
no,
get up
no.
and check, but
You do that. That is awesome. Orin, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much. Everybody should listen, watch. They should watch the Olympics,
watch it.
and
Yeah, it starts July 24th, I believe.
they'll hear Orin on the on every single show.
Every single show.
Orin, thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Hey, it's been my pleasure.